welcome to today's stream. Today's stream is PowerShell module development, so I'm just making some changes to the module, adding script interpolation and some choices. So yeah, hope you guys stick around. A lot of fun. Actually, it's going to be fairly quiet for today. Nothing really interesting, but obviously let's chat about anything. Yeah, let's get some stuff done today. So first thing I'm planning to do today at the moment is obviously I need to look at how this module kind of all hangs together and get my head around everything. So it looks like just looking at how it's been built. Interesting. Curriculum path separator, so yeah, okay. Import module file. Okay. Okay, so it's compiling it. Yep. Hmm. 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 This is interesting. How is he building this? Alright, what we're going to do. Shit, it's not going to work. I need to run this as admin. PowerShell 7. I'm just going to import it like this and then try and work out how it all hangs together. Yeah, it's probably going to be the better way to do it. Where's it? There we go. Just make sure I can see chat. Yeah. Writing some code. So essentially, oh my gosh. I just need to get PS repository. that should work now, instead of trying to prompt for me in private repos. There we go. Alright, so it seems that the module, the actual Git hangs together differently than the actual its module structure itself. So let's have a squiz at it. Let's go restart this. So it looks like it actually interesting. So this is the original, this is the actual PSM itself. Yep, okay, looks like it interpolates everything in. So it compiles it. Yep, looks like it compiles it. So essentially it's just doing code compiling. It just compiles it all in. Okay. So next thing I need to find then is add file replacement. Apply file replacement. Right issue. Not interested in any of that. Read. First thing we need to do now is I'm actually going to actually going to write a script. It's only going to invoke. Alright. So this is what I'm looking for. Let's have a look for invoke. Alright, now we're starting to make progress. So what I'm going to quickly do is just make some notes here. Let's just keep some notes here to the side so I know what I'm looking for. So what the plan is to add template. So within the template we can actually introduce changes. We can actually introduce a new character. So my idea is, obviously we have approximately, this is the script interpolation. So I'm thinking maybe something like this can be file interpolation. And then I'm planning to add potentially that's already set as that, so it'll be something like oh, did I just change it? Oops, I just changed it. Let me flip that back to that. So I'm thinking I'm going to add something like that. So that's going to be file interpolation, and this will be choices. So that's my idea. So the next thing we need to do is question really is what we're going to do in terms of how this process works under the hood. So essentially under invoke, let's go and actually have a look at that function now. Here it is. Okay, so yeah. So we got encoding, yep. So now I'm just looking for that parameter and seeing how it hangs together. Okay. Alright. Now let's start at the top. So essentially, begin, resolve path, just Control Z that, resolve path. Okay, so it's trying to validate output path, that's fine. Cannot resolve output path to a single folder. Yep, that's fine. Stop PS function. Name store, name path. So essentially here, bridge config and yep. Each item in the template, yep, so it invokes the template. If it fails, it uses stop that. So you can have multiple templates. So now we have to have a look inside of the invoke template. So, let's have a look in here. What's going on in here? What's going on here? So it's importing the template info from this client XML. Look at the parameters. Right. While we're doing that, feature the script parameters and template script values. Okay. So this is the script. So this is how it's adding script interpolation. Interesting. So I think the next thing we need to do here is so the problem with it is that essentially you have modules. So in modules you basically need to be able to cater for different items. Okay, where is script program? Okay, if it's not. Okay, so it's iterating through all the script values that are identified in that. Okay, so essentially when we generate okay. I think it's going to be a little bit easier playing around with the compiled version, to be honest. But we'll see. Okay, so template data, script store values. Okay, so let's have a look where this template data is. Okay, so if we go to terminal, what's it called? Get PSMD template. I want to have a squiz inside here. Alright, let's just do some XML imports. This is frustrating with VS Code doing this. I'm just going to do it this way. Okay, it's the same as the thing, is it? Well, looks like it's just the same as that. uses its identifier. What type of is it? Alright, so if we go head back into here, what's it called? What was it called? Oh, fantastic. Just have a... Oh, let's just try one of these. Cause it's my standalone script. Can't do it in there because VS Code will play funny ball. What have we got in here? Tags. Okay, tags, parameters, children. So it looks like so what I'm thinking about right now is trying to work out what the best approach is for this, because what I'm seeing here is that you can actually inject scripts into CliXML. Obviously you can inject quite large scripts into it and template from that, which obviously is an option. I'm just trying to think what the scope and relevance would be in terms of having those additional items, because at the end of the day though, you can just inject your code that way. Just thinking about how people are going to build their scripts. Essentially they're going to build their scripts with interpolation of the interesting thing though is that there's actually no it's just code, like there's actually no bits and pieces in it. I thought there'd be prompts and things like that. What's on the run? What's on the 0? Yeah, it's very, very basic. Okay. Alright. So I think what I'm gonna do, I think what I'm gonna do is I still think choicing and all that is going to be very handy. So one thing I am interested in is find me everywhere. Where's that is? Set PS config, PS module template identify, initialize string. Okay, yep. So identify uses detect and search variables, script block values. Okay, so that's worth noting. So how does it know that what's a script block and what's not? Okay, so you can set it there, that's fine. I'm actually intrigued about this. Okay, so yep. Script block replacement, test the name of the... Okay, yep. Script block can have multiple lines, yep. Named script block replacement, yep. So essentially we're going to need to have a file interpolation item like so. You're also going to have like so. We can have like that, and then we need to have a prompt so we can say yeah, it's going to be interesting how we're actually going to build this prompt out. How we need to make it easy to use. That's the thing that I'm kind of thinking about here. So I'm going to make it something like that. Oh, it's just focused on me again. I'm going to remove that hotkey. Where's that hotkey? Okay, there we go. So essentially, I'm actually wondering whether it's easy to double wrap it. So instead of having a single and you preserve it, you can double, and then you can have your name or your script block. So essentially, you can determine between the two, which would make it a little bit easier. Actually, I like that. I'm going to use doubles, singles and doubles, and that just means that it preserves the character sets. essentially what you can have here is you just have I don't know, I'm still thinking about this one. That's my idea there. So essentially, let's have a look at what's going on here then. The problem with the file interpolation script replacement is the fact that it actually, you can add files, but we need to be able to also dynamically inject any sort of headers or anything, or any sort of info into that as well. So I'm not sure with how I'm going to deal with that at the moment, but we'll get there. So if we look at invoke here, invoke, you can see, get rid of that, get rid of that, keep that open. So psconfig. Interesting. So yeah, that's the standard one. G'day. That's the standard one there. I don't know if updating PSModuleDevelopment configuration setting. Names are not case sensitive. So it looks like it iterates through here and then basically builds it out within here. Which is not a bad thing. That's what I'm thinking is going on here anyway. If we go back to invoke, I'm just gonna drop this down a bit. So it's getting the template path, yep, and the parameters. So if we go back to A and have a look at what we did here. Is there any parameters? No parameters. So essentially it looks like when it builds it, it goes through the parameters. And that's how it adds it. That's interesting. So essentially it adds the parameters when you create the file. So project, yep. So essentially it's got to go through here and look for those elements, those specific characters, and then flag them. That's all it's doing, is it's just flagging them in the CLI.XML so that when it reads it, it knows where it'll go. So it's not kind of, and then it just does a find and replace over the file. Alright, so then what we need to look for is something like that. Maybe that. So we're gonna have to have a bit of a peek at the code. So essentially, okay. Yep, so we're creating a new template. So template tags, all that kind of jazz, it's loading in. That's fine. Okay, that's if it has a PSMD template. Okay, so this is actually of interest to us. I might actually, so we can flag this. I wish I could like highlight this or something. So I can. I want to be able to flag it. So code tag. So tag it or something. Code formatter and prettifier. What do you do? Not interested in making it prettified. I'm maybe just quickly running a quick tag on the side. I should be able to just. I'm just going to add a quick comment. Okay, so now we've found that. So essentially, you can see it's going through template data. That's fine. So it's just looking at the template data. It just executes it, brings it in. Then it looks at each of the keys. It looks at template data.script.keys. Okay, yep. And then it builds that. Interesting. So it creates a version. If there's exclusions. Interesting. What's interesting is this specific item here. This here. Templates tags, no template name. Scripts.keys. So it creates this parameter script here. PSModuleDevelopment.template. Is that a custom object class? Or is that a C# class? I'm just going to add some tags here so I know what I'm looking at. This is creating the scripts. Alright, so from that we need to have a look for this. I have a sneaking suspicion it's a DLL. Betcha it's this DLL there. So that's how it's interpolating its scripts, is using that custom DLL. It's compiled. Is there a... Here we go. Let's have a look at what it is. It's template, parameter script, here it is. It's the key. It's template.keys. What's the key? Where's the key? What's the key? What's the key? It's gonna be scripts. Yeah, okay. So I'm guessing key would just be an integer. Premise scripts. And then you've got here template data.scripts and key. So when it creates the object, okay. So it's just returning an object and a script block. Well, that's interesting. Oh, okay, so it's just taking a script block and then it returns a script block. Okay. Because you're just passing a script block into it. The name of the parameter is used to insert it into individual files or file names. Okay. So this is going to actually make it a little bit more complex. So I think what we're going to probably need to do is create a couple of templates, C# templates, and go from there. So just kind of making some notes here. The question is though, yeah, I was thinking, no, I'm not going to use PowerShell classes. I'm just going to use full-blown class. Because if he's got parameter scripts, we can, yeah. Okay, he's got parameter script. I'm going to call it parameter file. Parameter choice. So essentially we can then do that, which is cool. What else are we going to need to do? Okay, so that's, I've just got to kind of work out. So if we got a new template here, so it's gone through, it's added that. So we've kind of got a bit of an idea there, that's fine. So then it goes through auto increments the version. The thing I want to see is how is it actually creating so you specified the file path. Where's the file path? There's the template. Yep, there's the template name. Where's your path, mate? Where's your path? Old template. Yep, there you get that. Exclusions. Okay, here we go. So gets region validate and show output folder. Okay, yep. I'm not interested in that. Utility functions. What's going on here? Access the identifier. Here we go. This is pay dirt. This is what it's looking for. So we need to update the pattern here. I'm just gonna see if I can create a tag on these. No, you can create tags. I'm pretty sure you can create tags in Visual Studio Code, and I can just write tags on them so I can kind of keep track of what's going on here. Alright, so I need to update the pattern here. So essentially this is where I need to make changes to the code to essentially, so it's looking for relative path, item full name. Okay, yep. Chain together in a logical or in order to prevent combination issues. Okay. Yep, so it's doing matching. So it's a folder, it creates a folder. Okay, so this is your fixed string replacement. This is your folder. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So that's for folders, so files. To be honest, folders can stay exactly the same. You're not going to be doing any sort of funky shenanigans with that, so we can actually go ahead and ignore that. What we're looking for is in files themselves, because I want to be able to directly interpolate a file into a file. So it's, yeah. So essentially here, what we need to do, so saying, yep, find those patterns if he's found them. Region fixed string replacement. So if groups.1, okay, so he's looking for the specific pattern is that. If object file system parameter is flat. Okay, I'm not sure what that is, but that's something that a debugger can tell me. Then we've basically got name script block replacement here. And then it throws an unknown script block. Okay, so okay. Okay, so that's file name.
That's file itself, so that's the file name. Not really interested in that. This is the identifier need for sharing templates. Actually, no, that is the file content. This is the file name. Okay, so this is file content. So yep, go through, find me all my bits and pieces. And then it just adds the parameter. It adds the parameter to this template or this object. Okay, that's what it's doing. Okay, that makes sense now. So essentially, if you have, I'm guessing that's the difference between a module, or sorry, a project and a flat file. So it has two different objects that it uses. So that makes sense. So essentially here what you have, so yes, it looks for the files and match that pattern. It's reading the file just as one big blob, finds all the items that contain that, adds them. That's interesting, because we have here regionalized script block replacement. Okay, so you can see here we've got name script block replacement, and then we have a live script block replacement. So essentially what it's doing is, okay, that's object content parameter scripts, and then this is the actual inline. Interesting. That's interesting. Okay, so it's, I think I'm going to definitely need to attach a debugger to this. This is definitely of interest. Definitely worth of having a look inside of here and how it actually works. I think I've got a bit of a good idea of how it all ticks under the hood. So yeah. Dynamic script. Yep. Okay. Process. That's in the begin block. That's interesting. Okay. I think this is kind of going to need to be debugged later as well. So what you can probably do is we might be able to chuck a debugger on that today and get a bit of an idea of how that ticks. But I think the big thing that we need to look at here is this. So it's looking for identifier that. So I'm going to have a bit of a look at how this is structured and go from there. My idea firstly is to I don't think we can change it for the existing ones, because the problem with the existing ones is that there's a dependency on that for those people. So if we go ahead and change that, it's just going to break everybody's. So what we can probably do, we can introduce a new script replacement patterns for those. So essentially, you have standard one, then you can have, I'm just using P because it's easier to type. Then we can say this is just standard. There's nothing needs to be changed, just a script block. Then we can change, can add just a double script block, and we can call this this is inline, and this is source, like so. And then what we can do here is we can then have file interpolation like so is inline. Then we can go and double this script replacement like so. That's the idea here. And then essentially for choices, it follows. I just popped off my keyboard. For choices, I'm thinking we could potentially go down the same path. Choices requires a bit more thought in terms of how I'm going to architect this, though. So essentially, we can have the thing with file interpolation is the fact that it's not really yeah. The whole idea with choices, though, my whole idea with choices is essentially it's its own script block. So I'm thinking something like, but it needs to be something that's easy for people to understand. So so name, so we can group name, something like that. So group name, choice message, choice expected value. Choice default. We can just go expected result. Oh, yeah, expected result. So essentially, you can just declare an array here or whatever what you want. I think that's plenty. I think for a choice, that's plenty. And essentially, the way it works is that you group based on the group name. So essentially, when you're doing your choice, and it prompts you for your choice, essentially it'll prompt you enter your item in, and then it'll just repeat itself. It needs an action if true, so you probably need action if true. And so here we could include our standard interpolation. Now that standard interpolation would be I'm not sure. I'm not sure if its action is true. I don't know, like essentially you just like, we don't care about false, we only care about is if true. And we can just basically say like, and then you can actually just put your items in there. Or I could just interpolate a file. Yeah, okay, I think that'll work. So essentially we can put a this is static string like so, but essentially we should be able to import pretty much whatever we want. So we can have an inline. We could have whatever. And it only adds if it's true, so there's no kind of false. If it didn't add, it's going to do this. It's just either this. I think that makes it easier because then you can group, and then the way that you would group your choices together essentially within your code would be to have something like this, where you'd have, okay, let's say you have logging as one type and you want to have a different type of logging, you would have something like this. And then you could just go group name equals blah blah, and go choice name. And you could group those items together within the same script using the same group. And that would work. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking anyway. Alright, well, I think this, okay, so I think that's a little bit too far forward at the moment, so I'm just going to kind of, yeah. I think I'm going to, next thing I wanted to have a bit of a play is with this regex. Easiest way to test regex, just use a regex tester. So essentially what I'm looking for is how this is built. So essentially we have so this one. Okay, so if we go, so what's it doing here? So that's you get it. Match any character that is not in the set. Okay. Interesting. Oops. Name script replacement. So it's looking for. Oops. So what's it matching on? So it's matching on. Okay, so it's going to match on the identifier as well, and that's its first capture group. Okay, let's just try that then. Oops. So if we go back, we've got identifier. So let's make your identifier. Let's just switch this back. So we've got an identifier of. Interesting. Regex is definitely not my strong suit, so I'm kind of trying to get my head around how it's hanging together. See, these are this is a sub-expression. So these are sub-expressions, and then it's capture groups, sub-expression. Okay, that's what it's doing. It's capturing everything else around it. Okay, that makes sense. So essentially, if you have a script, yeah, okay, so that's how it's matching. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Alright, so that's essentially the first regex expression, which is fine. The next one what we're looking at here is name script replacement pattern. So we've got, I'm guessing it's just anything that's prefixed with an exclamation mark. So if we go, I'm just going to get rid of all that. It's interesting how it hasn't matched that one. Okay, so it just matches it based on that. Okay, yep. I'm intrigued now. Yeah, okay. That's interesting, because my idea was that means we're going to need to make some serious changes to the regex to be able to handle a double interpolation. So essentially what we need to add what we need to add is like so. And essentially what we can do here is we can say, okay, we've got our regex tester. So essentially it's just going to be a square bracket. Square bracket might not be the best one because essentially I need to escape sequence them, I'm pretty sure. How do we escape sequence a square bracket like that? So if we put something like this, there we go. But I want to be able to get that working with a double bracket, and that spots as different. I think I'll just need to put that prior to the single bracket. So essentially, what we need to have here is file interpolation. So essentially that will need to be a double. I like the double. So it's looking for double like that. So what we can do now is grab that regex, put this in, replace that. And we do that. So essentially that's file interpolation, script replacement, and then we can actually simplify that. 1, 2, 1, 2, like so. So that adds my inline replacements, which will sort that out, and then we can basically follow the same idea with prompting for a prompt. So for choice, so essentially choice can be a backslash. Oh, it's a lot of terrible characters, but anyway. So essentially, I need to do that. So if I do there we go. So essentially that's our prompt. So we need to then go, okay, grab that. And then what we can do is we can go that, copy that, grab that, paste that like that. And then in line, and then we need to chain together in a logical or in order to avoid combination issues. Yep, that's fine. And then we do another one of those, like so. And so essentially we have this now in this kind of approach. The next thing I need to do is play with this. Hmm. Okay, so just actually having a quick read of this ASX announcement. What do you got? Tell me what you got. Alright, that's something that can definitely be read later. It's 51 pages. Alright, so I find this one interesting. It's got identify MS. Well, the main thing is that that's going to kind of get us going, I think, for now. And then from that, we can kind of work around the issues. Yeah. I'm definitely going to have to take this offline and work on this during the week. Yeah. Well, from what I see is it's fairly straightforward. So obviously we're going to need to create our own object. So essentially the way it works under the hood is that when you create a new template, it goes through the files and then works out where all the parameters are within that template, and then stores that in the template. And then once it's completed, it will once you actually invoke it, it'll just go to the template and then go find those and then interpolate them in. And so that means that it's actually not doing a find and replace as per se. Within the code, it's just doing a find. It's just because it already knows where everything is. Alright. I think it's going to leave it there for today. It's a very interesting discovery session. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there for today. And I'm going to definitely take this offline and spend a bit more time offline, getting my head around it. And then once we actually get some more action happening, then I can definitely get you. We can definitely live stream it. But we definitely will be live streaming this back next week. So I'm going to be just working on it offline, and we'll go from there. But anyway, guys, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a very interesting deep dive into PS Module Framework. So anyway, guys, yeah, this Saturday is PowerShell. There's no PowerShell 101 happening this Saturday since it is Christmas party for me. So essentially it will be potentially next week or the week after. But essentially, yeah, no 101 live this week. And it will be, yeah, I'll probably just be working on this because I've got nothing else to do. So anyway, guys, have a good one. I'll catch you later. Cheers. Ciao.